Here I am in Saint-Jérôme, Quebec, having left home 2 weeks ago with my bicycle camper. After reaching the northern end of the Train-du-Nord trail from my home in Gatineau, I took a week to reach this point, kilometre 0. Follow me as I begin part 3 of my trip, heading home. By traveling the whole length of the trail, I've accomplished what I set out to do, so now I'm returning home by the quickest route possible, taking into account the small number of available campgrounds due to COVID-19 restrictions. The previous night, when I studied Google Maps to plan my route from Saint-Jérôme train station to Camping Donald in Mirabel, I realized just how bicycle unfriendly this city of 80,000 people can be. The shortest route, 14 kilometers, the one selected by the Google algorithm, would force me to ride on busy streets without a bicycle lane. This route would force me onto Boulevard Jean-Baptiste, which would be unpleasant. But the worst part would be Boulevard du Grand Héron, which is clearly not made for bicycles. So I flatly rejected that option. I looked at a longer option, a 20-kilometer one, going northward through the town of Saint-Colomban. But it too presented me with an unacceptable bicycle-unfriendly road, Martigny Boulevard. So I decided on a southern route, 24 kilometers long, which would take me 5 kilometers down the lower Laurentian linear path. This seemed to be a pleasant bicycle route, a nice addition to the Train-du-Nord trail. Street view showed that where the path meets County Road Sainte Marguerite, I'd be on a lovely country road, well worth the extra distance. I was confident that this was going to be a pleasant ride. Much better than having to beat traffic. When I arrived at Concession Road Sainte Marguerite, I waited at the corner to let a big truck pass. Then another, then another, then 2 others, then another. There was a never-ending procession of trucks of all types and sizes going both ways. It was soon apparent that if I took this road, I'd be putting my life on the line. So I headed back to Saint-Jérôme to take option 1, the shortest route. I feel more comfortable riding with city traffic than with big trucks on a narrow road without a shoulder. On the way back to Saint-Jérôme, I encountered the strongest side wind I had yet experienced, and I was happy to realize that the trailer was very stable. On Saint-Jean-Baptiste-Roland, I rode on the sidewalk. I stuck to the edge of the road on Grand Héron, which fortunately wasn't very long, and was happy to reach Chemin de la Rivière, where I stopped to let a row of cars go by. Finally, the traffic eased and I was able to enjoy riding my bike again. I reached the campground just before the office closed and went to bed without planning the next day's route, having decided to let Google Maps guide me. So on this day 14, I traveled 50 kilometers on the trail to reach kilometer 0 in the morning. That was recorded in my video part 2, days 13 and 14. Then I cycled 6 kilometers on the lower Laurentian linear path, then another 6 kilometers back to Saint-Jérôme, then another 20 kilometers to the campground for a total of 82 kilometers. August 22nd, and I'm speaking from Camping Donald in Mirabel. It was a cold 7 degrees this morning when I got up, but the sun's out and it's going to be a warming influence on my life today. I'm happy today because all of my course is planned for the rest of the trip. I'm going with campsites already reserved, and I'll be home in 3 days. So today I'm crossing over to the Ontario side and we'll be doing the rest of the trip on the Ontario side until we get to Ottawa, where I'll be crossing over back to Gatineau. I just left the campsite about 1 minute ago. The road seems quite nice here. There were quite a few cars at the beginning. I think they tend to travel in bunches anyways. Right now it's pretty quiet, and there's a nice paved shoulder. We're on Chemin Saint-Simon here, and the shoulder has become wider. So I feel quite comfortable riding at 28 kilometers an hour under these conditions. Detour. This is the only route that leads to the Ottawa River from here. I have to go in that direction, so will the road be closed further down? I spoke to the lady in the store and she says she saw cyclists go by earlier this morning and she hasn't seen them come back. But I don't see that I have any choice but to press on. This part of the road is really rough. I'm going only 5 to 12 kilometers an hour. It's been like this for the past kilometer. I hope this won't last too long. But it's pretty countryside nevertheless. This is Chemin de la Rivière. It's quite pretty. It seems that every river has a road called Chemin de la Rivière or River Road. This is an intriguing shrine that somebody has placed here in the middle of nowhere. It's not in front of a house, it's located at the end of a field. On the cross, there's a ladder, a pair of pincers, a hammer and a lance, surrounding a heart inside an aureole. Very bizarre. We're in Catholic country here, and my Catholic upbringing fails to explain this to me. This is intriguing. The left side has been freshly paved, but it appears that somebody forgot to do the right side. Kilometers of unfinished repairs and not a single piece of road building equipment in sight. Well, this is strange. Google Maps wants me to cross this body of water with my bike? Where's Moses when we need him? I met a trucker who told me to turn on this road, which will lead me to the ferry near the Carillon Dam. Another truck driver indicated that I should turn left here. Google Maps still can't find the ferry, but I know it has to be upstream somewhere. This looks more promising. A funny thing happened when I was on that road ready to turn for the ferry. Google Maps at last woke up and told me, turn left and take the ferry. Well, I guess that makes sense. So here she comes. This is Concession Road 1 and it's about 5 kilometers long. I hope the rough surface isn't too long. This is really rough. This would be a good lesson for city planners on how to slow down the traffic. Pavement ahead! When I'm bicycling touring, I rarely eat in restaurants, so I have to manage my food carefully. Pasta and legumes will last forever. Vegetables can be kept without refrigeration for a few days, but meat has to be cooked within a few hours of leaving the store. In case I can't find fresh meat, I always keep a canned version of animal protein in my food box, such as sardines, fish fillets, smoked oysters, tuna, cod, and either flaked ham, chicken, or turkey. I keep away from canned beef because, it smells like dog food. Tonight for supper, I'm frying flaked turkey in butter, salt, and pepper, along with Brussels sprouts, which I boil before starting the meat. Frying in butter gives everything a bit of crispiness and enhances the flavor. If I had onions, I'd add some to the pan, but I don't. And in the small pot at the left, some couscous, which is being kept hot. It looks a little too wet, so I'll have to drain the excess water. This way I can have a very palatable 3-course meal done on one burner, and everything is served hot at once. Today, well, I woke up this morning 9 degrees Celsius, so that was a little warmer. Just 2 or 3 degrees makes a difference. I didn't freeze. Today I'm heading for Camping Paradis, which is somewhere near the middle of eastern Ontario, halfway between here and home. And I have 2 choices today. I can take the Prescott Russell Recreational Trail, or I can take country roads. Now, a trail sounds like a good idea because there'd be no traffic, and that would be great, except that the eastern part, my understanding is that the eastern part of the trail isn't in as good condition as the western part. And I'm tired. I have 72 kilometers to cover, and I don't want to take any chances, so today I'm going to opt for the country roads, which will take me through St. Eugene, Van Cleek Hill, and St. Bernardin. If you're not familiar with Ontario provincial parks, you'd be amazed at how spacious the campsites are. This is the space, the barrier between my campsite and my neighbors on the right. This is my site, which I'll be vacating pretty soon, and you can see that I've already rolled up the vestibule. You can see to the left of my camper there's a wide treed area separating my campsite from the next one, and the power outlet is placed halfway between the 2 sites. And look how this is built. A heavy concrete base and a thick post made of steel. It's built to last as long as the Roman roads. I'm on Highway 14 heading towards St. Eugene. The sun's out! Now I'm facing a strong headwind. This really sucks up power. But then, with my 2 high-capacity batteries, I don't have to worry about running out of juice. Van Cleek Hill, the gingerbread capital of Ontario. This doesn't refer to the kind that we eat, but to the decorative design applied to wood furniture, or, in the case of this town, to the eaves of the old houses. I'm just outside of Van Cleek Hill, still on Highway 10. So far, the Ontario roads have provided me with the best highway cycling I've done on this trip. Smooth pavement, very little traffic, and beautiful countryside. The battery was close to completely empty after 44 kilometers. This is pretty good, considering my heavy load and the strength of the headwind. Time to switch batteries. I'm now on Highway 22 and I'm enjoying riding on a nice smooth dirt-free paved shoulder. This is so perfect. Okay, another step closer to home. I'm looking for a place that might offer a toilet. There doesn't seem to be a lot of businesses in this little village. There's a church here, but I doubt that it's open for business. A few houses here, and that seems to be it for St. Bernardin. Let's go this way. It doesn't look very promising. A convenience store, but it's closed. I'm presently on County Road 22, heading directly for the campground, and it's noon, so I have to find a place to stop and have lunch. But I did find a rather private place over here to make up for the toilet that was missing in the village. Well, I found this suitable spot that's just wide enough. And I'm having a cream cheese sandwich and sausage stick. Not bad. And another step closer. Another step closer. La Rose Forest, I had never heard of it, the Prescott Russell Forest. And there's a parking lot. Let's go and see. By the way, we're about 1 kilometer from the campground. That's not very far from my place. It'd be worthwhile coming here and discovering the place. So this is on the opposite side of the road from where I was, and there's other trails on this side as well as a shelter for picnic tables. You'd think there would be more people here than what we see now. This is such a nice place. These tall pine trees. Made it! I'm here at last, my last night. I'm at Camping Parody, and to top it off, there's a canteen that has fresh cut fries. Ooh. On this fine day, the second last day of my trip, I traveled 81 kilometers. This is the day I'm supposed to get home. I have 60 kilometers to go, but it's raining and it's forecast to rain all day. So I'm not sure what I can do about that. From the forecast, it looks as though it's going to be heavy rain all day, so there doesn't seem to be any let up. I'll have to play it by ear, so I think the best thing I can do is start with a cup of coffee. I just discovered that I'm in a hole. We've got all the water here. I think really I should have put my camper up here. That is probably going to be the driest place on the whole site here. And all that water. Look at all the water back here. Couldn't have put it further back for sure. The weather is supposed to be good tomorrow, so I guess the first thing to do is to find out whether the campsite is available for tonight. So after breakfast, well, when the office opens at 9 o'clock, I'll find out. Well, I have no choice but to move to higher ground. I'm all set up now in my camper on high ground, and it stopped raining. It's now 10 o'clock. And I'm looking at not just the weather forecast, but the weather radar. And it looks to me as though there's going to be several hours with no rain. And maybe rain is over in this part of the province. So I'll have a go at it. Before I pack things into my bags, I just want to show you the bottom of these waterproof bags. You can see the water floating in the bottom. And this one here as well. So I have two waterproof bags that have a puddle of water in the bottom. These are waterproof. They are clearly marked waterproof. Finally, I decided to take a chance on the Prescott Russell Recreational Trail, even though I had no idea what it looked like. I could always exit the trail at any intersection. Good morning.
I'm not the only crazy person this morning, eh?
I thought I was, so, so it's nice to know that we're not alone in this. So I decided to take the Prescott Russell Recreational Trail in spite of my reservations about it. And what I see here looks very promising. I don't know if it's going to be paved all the way, but it's certainly worth a try. And there's a light drizzle presently, but I think the rain is going to stop completely, so I should be okay. There is only about 1 kilometer of paved trail, and now it turns into stone dust. But it's hard packed, so it looks pretty good. We'll see. There are some wet spots. I don't know how I'm going to react in those. Oh, that's not too bad. So we'll continue for a while. The sign says that we're in Hammond, and there's a rest stop here with toilets and probably looks like a little lunch area. Yes, there is a lunch area here with 2 tables well spaced out because of COVID-19. A little obstacle here, nothing that I can't move myself, I think, so I'll have a crack at it. This is the end of the trail here at Anderson Road, and I'm turning right here. Going home across the bridge is Gatineau. Hey geese, watch out! I made it, and I'm back home. Home sweet home. On this last day I covered 58 kilometers and the rain never let up for 1 minute. So much for my ability at interpreting weather radar. This marks the end of my 17-day, 767-kilometer Citrin-du-Nord adventure. I'm presently working on a video to give you my impressions of my bicycle camper, both as a road vehicle and as a mobile home. It will also provide an analysis of the energy savings and the environmental impact of this kind of touring and compare it with traveling with a motorhome. So if this interests you, keep an eye on my channel, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe to it simply by clicking on the red icon at the bottom right of your screen. If you'd like information about electric bikes and bicycle campers, or if you'd like to buy one of my books on sailing, go to my website, www.robertberrio.com. Thank you for having accompanied me on my marvelous trip.